And we can just dance the night away until we get no more. I'll shake all the hurt away so you can feel and forget who you used to be. For just tonight, could you just dance the night away?
Alright. I added one character to the list. I added the hunter. We're over here now, because this is where we're going, right? Yeah. So we're a little late. I made some breakfast. I was making pancakes, and we didn't have a lot of pancake mix left, because I made homemade, like, pancake mix. You know, I mixed up the basic ingredients, except for the water and liquid eggs, and, you know, like the liquid part of it, which is like the milk, water, and egg part. But I mixed all the dry stuff up so I can speed make pancakes. Well, we just ran out of the pancake mix, so I finished, we had like 4 pancakes made total. So I went ahead and made the rest of it because there wasn't much left of it, so that I can make a new batch. And then there's pancakes for today, for my husband, and tomorrow. For me, I made biscuits and gravy for myself, and for him, I made pancakes, bacon, and eggs. He really wanted something sweet because his day hasn't been going very well, or hasn't been going very great with work-related things. Nothing to be, like, alarmed about, but he's not having a great day. He sat and watched a movie last night that was like poor. Like when you get the desire to watch an awful movie, like a crappy like C-rated movie or D-rated movie, just to remind yourself how nice it is to watch real good movies. So he watched a lame movie. It wasn't like bad or inappropriate. It was just about like a woman who was cheating and the double standards behind that. And it was really boring. Like boring in the sense that we both thought it was bullshit. Pardon my French on the matter. I don't like. I find a lot of those chick flick movies that I used to like as a kid or a teenager. I find them kind of sad now as an adult because it's kind of like weird. A good example is like a lot of my classmates loved the Notebook. The movie wise, I don't know about the book specifically because I've never read the book. I don't know. Maybe the book's more complicated. I don't know. But I do know that like with the movie, it always was weird to me that women got like a pass in these movies for trying to find themselves after they've made promises. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I get it. Sometimes you change your mind, that's not an issue. But be an adult about it, you know? A lot of these movies make me mad because they make women seem fickle and like they can just change on a dime like that and not have consequences for it. Because let's be real, like, when you're getting ready to get married and stuff, before you even say yes, you should have already thought about it, right? Good example of why I say that is because I hate it when women are like, oh yeah, I said yes, but I thought he was the one, and then my ex came back into my life, and I just... No. No. Here's the thing. If you start questioning after you said yes, to me that tells me that you said yes because you felt like that was the next step in life, and that you didn't actually see that person you were dating for who they are, which is a maturity issue on your part, not on your relationship. You have to be responsible as an adult with your actions. You don't have to, and like I said, sometimes your feelings do change or whatever, but there is a certain level of responsibility you have to own up to as an adult that you can't just shake off and be like, I just fell in love. Okay, yeah, good for you, but you should have said something before you got to the point of saying yes, right? Here's what. And like, don't be wrong, there are times where like, and I'm not talking like in the situation where like you find something out about your soon-to-be husband that was disturbing, like you found out he cheated or abused his last person he was with, or maybe he has a kid you don't know about. Those are valid things to make you question whether you want to marry someone if they've lied to you about something really severe when you first go. But if they haven't lied about anything, it's kind of awful of you to just kind of go back to your ex. There's a reason they're your ex. Remember that. But one of the things that really bothered me is that my husband and I, when we first started dating, we didn't want to play these weird fucking games that adults play when it comes to romance and stuff. It's stupid, right? Let's be real, it's stupid. We don't want to play these weird games. So we had a conversation when we started dating if we were interested in even going towards marriage and what our timeline would look like theoretically. Granted, we were willing to wait longer to get married and stuff, for instance, but we wanted a minimum of a year. We both agreed that we would need to be dated for a minimum of a year before, or courting as a, that kind of thing, before we even think about getting engaged. And we did. We dated for a whole year, and we had this realization of, like, yeah, we actually like each other. We get along. We share a lot of things in common. We talked about a lot of important things that laid the groundwork of what we are. And don't get me wrong, No one's perfect. You're gonna have things that kind of surprise you, and that you suddenly realize you guys didn't have that conversation when you were dating or whatever, right? That happens. It's not great, but it happens. But there's a difference between having those conversations before that. I've seen so many movies make it seem like these women pick these men on a whim. They maybe been dating them for a year, and then they're like, "Oh my god, my ex came back into my life," and then they proceed to dump the man who put the money in to get her a ring, wants to marry her, has been there for her the last few years. The ex, and like even like when the ex is left because of like college-related things, like they went off to school and they had these. Like, don't get me wrong, that happens, but I always hate it when they're like, "Oh, the one that got away." That rarely is the thing, right? You shouldn't be having that thought. Like, I don't think of anyone of all, and I haven't had very many exes myself, to be fair. But the ones that I do have, or that I have had, I don't sit here and think, "Oh, they got away." I think, nope, I nailed the one that was for me. Because my husband is better quality than any of the men I've ever dated. Or had crushed on. Because I did have one friend that I had a lot of crush on for a long time, and it never became romantic. I never liked him like that. He saw me as like a sister, and I never pushed because you just can't push. You can't push that, you know. If a no is a no, whether it's from a man or a woman, you know. I respected it. You know, I'd ask him every few years if his mind had changed, but it was normally a matter of, "Hey, you know, has anything developed?" And then he'd be like, "No," and I'd be like, "Okay, cool," and that's it. I would just kind of drop it because you know that's what you're supposed to do. I need to go down here. It always irritated me when I see a lot happen more with women with that, where they don't accept, where they don't take the no. Or no, no, not with women. I see more men do that, where a woman will be like, "No, no, no, I don't want to date you," you know, XYZ thing, and the man not taking a no. But I have seen women do it too. Anywho, but my point being is, he was watching these crappy movies, and I was sitting here watching, looking back at some of the movies I liked as a teenager, and I was just like, you know what? Some of them are toxic. As a teenager, you think, because I was thinking, like, why would I like these as a teenager? Because as an adult, I despise it. What it is that when I was a teenager, when you're a teenager, you want to be accepted so desperately. You want to be liked so desperately. You want to fit in to your people that to you it seems like at the time that it seems like something kind of normal, you know, like, oh yeah, I just didn't want to be this. Like, because I remember being kind of fickle as a teenager, not in a like I gave up on everything, but kind of in a I would be into something for 1 year and then I'd switch out on something else and have a different hobby. You're trying to find yourself as a teenager, you know, and that includes your relationship, um, like love language and stuff, right? So when I was growing up, I think as a teenager, you watch some of these movies and you think, wow, that's so romantic. She went back to her first love. But then you realize when you get older, that's cheating. You're like, nope, that's cheating. She should have been an adult and said, hey, no, I think I'm questioning it. Can we postpone? Can we wait? Can we call it off, you know? And then you start feeling bad for the guy that put all the work in. I was watching one of these movies where the woman, she had been with him for a few years, and the other guy was not a good. Like, as a teenager, I thought he was just a bad boy and stuff. And then I got older, I'm like, he's just a bad dude. He is not a good. He's not mature. He's not ready for life and stuff, and ready for being in a relationship with this particular mature woman. Like, he'll get there, but not right now, not with her right now. But I remember feeling like, oh, she's gonna change him. When I was a teenager, then I got older, I'm like, he ain't changing. She ain't changing crap. That guy needs to brew longer. Put him back in the oven a little longer, let him cook. You know, because as a teenager, you think that everyone's gonna, because you're, how to put this? When you're a teenager, you're in the growing phase of your life. So the likelihood of you being able to change your ways, or theoretically other people's ways, seems more plausible than when you get to be an adult and you start realizing that most people start to stick, like, to who they are when they get a certain. There's a certain. I remember people saying, okay, like my mom used to say that there's one day you'll wake up and you're like, I'm an adult. Like, it just suddenly hits you. I thought she was being dramatic when I was like when that happened. I was 23 when I got that feeling. That feeling, I woke up one morning, I made breakfast, and I had this realization that I'm an adult. I'm a grown adult. My learning has slowed down, like in the sense that I don't go Googling everything every 5 seconds when I have something new. I try to do it, try to remember to Google things when I don't know things or when a question pops into my head. But I have this thing as an adult that I'm just like, I wonder how whales do XYZ thing. I guess I'll never know. Back to making eggs. You know, you get to be an adult and you're just like, you start accepting things, like, not necessarily in an ignorant way. You're just like, it's not important. I'm not going to focus on it. I have other things to do. You stop thinking about wanting to be accepted. You stop trying to go out and make friends all the time. As a teenager, you want to make friends all the time because you want to be accepted. You want to be a part of something. You want to be grown. You feel like you need your own pot to sit in, kind of thing, like the home, like a flower and stuff, kind of thing. But when you get to being an adult, you don't care anymore. You have your own backyard, your own garden in a way, in a metaphorical way. And you're just like, I want sunshine, I want water, and if you can't give me any of those things, get out of my face. Really messed up. But I remember now, like from 23 and on, like, started watching some of the old movies, and I'm like, man, this is just cheating with extra steps. This is just an indecisive woman having a midlife crisis and then doing something off the rails instead of just doing anything else. Like, don't get me wrong, you can make some really good things story-wise for, like, lost loves and stuff, but I feel like most of them where the one guy does nothing wrong and he just asks a woman to marry him, and then she decides to go back to her first love because she's having a crisis, he's reappeared, the spark is back, blah, 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 blah. That ticks me off. Because while, yes, that happens in real life, it's also one of those things that just proves that she, as the character, wasn't ready to begin with, and so she shouldn't have said yes to begin with. Because the moment I said yes to my husband, I didn't question anymore on who I was going to be with. I questioned whether I would be able to carry on a healthy relationship with him. Like, I was worried about, what if he backs out? What if this fails? But then once, like, we got married and everything, I didn't worry about that anymore because my biggest fear was being left at the altar, just like any other bride's fear was. I'm sure he also had that fear too, because it's a very common fear amongst men and women alike. But, like, I didn't have a question that he was my person. You know? I was just more questioning on whether he felt that way for sure or not, because I had trust issues with that. Not because he didn't make it obvious, but because I've had people cheat on me in the past, so that. So I try not to let that guide my opinion of him because I know he's never done that and he never would. Anywho, but once we had, like, gotten, like, said yes, and once we got married and everything was in play, I didn't question about being with anyone else. He was the one. You know? And it irritates me when I watch some of these movies now where it's like, why did you say yes to him or her if you weren't going to commit to it? That's on you. Thank you, kind Sun Spirit. A brutal death was the only justification deserved. I thought his death would bring me peace as well, but I still feel bound here. Perhaps my soul is doomed to walk the dunes as a warning to the foolish. It could also take a while. Just because you murdered, like, just because someone was executed doesn't mean that goes away. Pain takes a while, you know? It takes a while for it to, you know, subside, I think. Okay, we're doing some extra quests if it isn't obvious game-wise. But yeah, it always irritates me when I watch these movies now. I can't watch any chick flicks. There are some chick flicks I can watch. Like, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there are a few of them I know that I'm kind of okay with. They're like, okay, cool, this makes more sense. Maybe if the guy's, okay, here's the thing. If the guy's abusive or whatever, there is a few movies where you have a guy who's cutting his girl down, or you have a guy who's got a girlfriend who's just very substantial, very shallow, you know, very not, like, there for him. I can see that bringing into a question of who is worth your time. Because I feel like that makes more sense, right? I do like, I don't like them, but I can relate to those stories where they're in a relationship where both are not compatible. And there are some that are movies where the two are both the male or female lead, and then the other spouse or spouse to be have just been going through the motions, and only after they start to experience things outside their thing, they start, like, looking into their relationship, do they realize, oh, we're not we're not good for each other. I like movies like that where they both kind of come to the realization for different reasons. Maybe he wanted to go for his career, and she wanted, or maybe she wants to go for his career, her career, and he wanted, or she, whatever the other person is, wants to go, wants more time to live their dreams and be whimsical and stuff. Whatever the case may be. I like movies where they both kind of come to the realization that they're bad for each other and they've just been going through the motions as a unit because that was what was expected of them. Because that's a fair assumption to make, right? Especially with women. I feel like, okay, I had this conversation with my husband before that as a woman, and living in a more rural area with standard traditional titles and stuff, that to me, it's weird the pressure they put on women to be married, but not the pressure for men to be married. So a lot of people in my neighborhood and in my state were having baby mamas where they aren't married to the women, but the women want to be married to them because they thought if they popped a kid out that they could convince the men to love them and be married to them, and that's really sad. And then there's also like the situation where there isn't that pressure on the men to be honorable with their wives. Now, granted, that's not how my family raised us because my parents did not like that lifestyle and did not want to encourage that. But it's a very common thing. It's also one of the many reasons I stuck with my parents when they said no dating at XYZ and like don't be doing being intimate real young with people because, you know, and by intimate I mean like don't give them your heart too aggressively, because I had so many classmates who also they like would make presents for the guys they were dating. They would be all loving, giving them no time, and then they would cheat. So my parents would always kind of like encourage us not to invest too much in young relationships. Once you guys have been with each other for like a year and there's not been that much of a negative like kind of situation, then it was kind of more real. My parents and I kind of had that like understanding that then it was more serious. And that's probably the reason why I'd known Ghost forever, like for several years. But one of the many things that made it a lot easier was that we did it for a year, and then we were engaged for a year, and like I said, we've known each other for like a decade total. Like it's probably actually more than a decade. It's probably like 12, 13 years, something like that. It's long. We've known since you guys in high school, and still stuck, you know, from that's pretty impressive, I think, considering. I'm debating on which path to take. Because if I cut through it might take me longer just because there's more creatures in the way. Anywho, but like, it was, even though I've known him for a decade, we both talked about it when we were dating that we needed at least a year or two before we would see if this would become permanent. Because we both wanted to make sure the other person wasn't playing around. That this was serious, that this was real. And, or I shouldn't say real, because that kind of makes it seem like when you're dating someone and you're in that interview process of your life, that's not real. It's more like, becoming your forever, you know? I don't know. I'm trying to think if it's hard to see some of these paths, because I know some of these paths are hidden by trees on the map. So I'm trying to see if there was a path like right here to go around. It looks like there is, but I'm trying to see if there's. I want to see if there's one here or one here. I'm tempted to go do the turn here. I think this is the right direction. Yeah, I'm tempted doing the turn because I think it's a lot of fighting on this curb, but at least it would loop me back around to the other side. That's what I'm trying to think. I was trying to find a fast way to get over there that didn't have me having to kill half the forest. I don't think that's an option. I think it's gonna have to be killing half the forest. But yeah, like, it kind of irritates me when I watch some of these movies, the irresponsibility. I'm trying to find a way to sum it up in a nice way. But it's irresponsible. You owe it to yourself and to your partner to be serious and be for real and be actually 150% in on it, you know? And watching some of these movies is like, wow, you are so flaky. And like I said, I like some of the movies where they both come to terms where they've just been kind of going through the motions. I can't remember the movie I watched, but there was a movie about a man like that where both of them they were both, very courteous to each other. They did care about each other in a way, but it was much more like a roommate kind of way where the two of them were kind of going through the motions, but neither of them had the passion to really stay in love. And then the sweetheart came back, and then she realized the passion. He saw that there was passion there, and that she looked at him differently. But she didn't go out of her way to like do anything, and like the most cheaty thing they did was kiss, and even then she immediately like, told him the fiance about it, and the fiance was just like, I think we need to break it off, and she goes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you, and he's like, no, he's like, we aren't good for each other, and he's like, this is just kind of been happening, he's like, he kind of indicated that he didn't really blame her for it, but that it had been kind of happening for a while, and she gave him back the ring and stuff. It was a really cool story of relatively civil adults behaving that way while still having the drama. I think this is the right way. Anyways, but like I said, I can't watch some of those anymore. Some of them are just so dramaticized, and it's like, as a teenager, you, like I said, you kind of live for that drama, and then you get older and you're like, no, I'm too old for that crap. I got things to do, places to be, lives to live. Okay, so I'm gonna see which direction to go. Yeah, I think I can loop around. Yeah, there's the people over there. This is the way it went last time, I think, for a story bit. So we're just gonna get rid of the back door. I think that's what we're going to try and get. We're much stronger now with the gear and skills, so I'm not too worried about it. Pretty good. You need to be careful. I'm having my health drop too low. Where did everyone else go? Oh, you're back here fighting. Okay, I was like, where did y'all go? Kind of need the healing just a little bit. Heal a bit. There's some blizzards in there. I'm trying to click on them, but I know I could use tab, but I'm trying to focus on my my numbers. I have so much attention span, and I don't have all of it to give. That's basically what this is. I only have so much I can give. Here we go. Can we get... Why is the cook over here? Like, seriously, the fact that their cook is fighting seems a little sad. Imagine being part of a raiding party, and you have to fight. Like, if I was part of, if I was part of a pirate group, I am not fighting worth shit. The only thing I'm fighting with is the stovetop, okay? If I have to fight the stove and fight for you, no, it's a no, man. It's a no. It's an absolute no. Because, what the heck? Come back over here. We're gonna try and break this group up at the back. I don't know. It's like I have one job, and it's not to cut throats. That's your guys' job. I'm here to flip pancakes and make you eggs, and that's it. I don't want to hear any of it. This is why I can never be a criminal. Because they expect you to like duality with that kind of stuff, and I'm just like, no. Just see like the cops coming in to get the people plotting the bank robbery, and I'm just like, no, I'm here to cook eggs. I'm not here for the bank robbery. Walking out, putting my apron down as they're getting arrested. It's not how that would work. I'd get arrested too, but I could see it come up comically in my head. Okay, this should get rid of the back door stuff. This was the reason I was like, I'll just get rid of all of them, just slowly or surely. I'm glad that I'm not dead. In more ways than one. Like in-game and in real life. Isn't that great? But yeah, he was watching those like awful movies, and I'm just like, this is not what I like. Sorry. Can we get the hunter up, please? Thank you. Poor hunter. Took a long nap in the dirt. Okay, so I think we're I knew this was gonna be a thing. This is also why I wanted to make sure we got the others done. But yeah, so I don't know. It's weird when you watch some of those movies as a kid. You're like, oh my god, so sad. Why? That's just so real. And then you get older and you're like, that's drama and a half, and I'm too old for it. Ooh, give me that. I don't want. We're gonna actually just do this because I like the material more. But like, it's funny because it's like, no. And I always thought, I was telling my coworker about the swap back before I moved to New York. He's like, it sounds like you're becoming jaded. He's like, welcome to adulthood. And I just started laughing. I'm like, I'm guessing. This is what adulthood looks like? Should I be concerned? I need to back off a little bit if I can. I don't think I can because I'm boxed in here with mocks. There we go. The cut throws in the room. Mox, don't go that way. Oh my god, Mox. I mean, we did get rid of a lot of them, I think. So I'm not real worried if we respawn back behind them. He's doing a lot of damage. That was a lot of them that he got rid of. She's so strong. I'm so proud of her. She should aim for the other guy, but no. Oh my gosh. I can't, I don't know if I'll be able to get him up quick enough. I don't know if that's gonna help, because I don't think he's gonna be able to. It's not a big deal. We still have, like, what, like 3 back here? And then we have this one group back here, which is fine. Should probably focus on that guy. Unless he's... Is he attacking one that has lower health? There is one back there that has lower health. I can't tell which one he's attacking. Oh my god. I can't see anything. Trees are in my way. Anyways, I figured we'd have to restart anyways, so just sweep you down. But yeah, like, it's weird to see some of the old movies and think, oh, those were so sweet as a kid. And then you get older and I'm like, oh, those are awful. No one likes those. I also started noticing... Okay, why are these guys here? I mean, I don't care. It's not a big deal that these guys are here. What does a reef finder mean? Like, what kind of, like, job description is that? Also, where the heck am I? Oh, I'm back here. Okay. Like, what kind of job description is that? He doesn't kill. He just goes and finds us reef fish. Yeah, it, you know, seems like such a lame job. Alright, let's go see if we can grab... these guys. I think one of these guys over here was a mini boss. Hence the problem. Yeah. It's a commander. I keep hitting 3 and I need to hit 6. Or 2. There we go. There we go. Got it. Now we can move up the rank. Tunnel. Hide square. Alright. I guess we'll just have to deal with this. It's definitely gonna be a lot of dying, I think. Unless we can get our butt in here without stirring the nest. Okay, I want to go back to this leather bit here. The leather high on the ground. Probably could have dropped it and then done it, but I don't think that would have given me leather. I think that would have given me something else. Okay, so I don't know who they were fighting. Okay, hit 5. I don't have an order of what I'm picking. I'm just kind of taking out what I can. Alright. We got rid of a few of them. I don't think we got rid of all of them. Asshole. Pin drive hit 6 and failed. There we go. Got him. Took him down with me. I don't care about the rest of it. This is a hard area to be in. It forces the camera into my face. I mean, it could be worse. What in the world? Why? Why are we over here? This seems like a bad place to be. Yeah, I'm running out of health real quick. Barely hanging in there with the 7. Here. I looked out my keys on my board to see where I'm at. You know, the funny thing is, I used to be a consoles controller type player. I used to do more console games as a kid, and then as I've gotten older, I can't do that anymore. Like, my husband got me into PC gaming, and then after that, I kind of just couldn't do it anymore. Like, I don't think I could go back and do it. How do we go ahead of them? I mean, I'm okay with it, but I feel like when you die, you should be relatively close. I feel like you should have to ping it. You know, I do think that, I don't know, Guild Wars 2, you have to be kind of closer to it than this. But, it's got its benefits, I suppose. I mean, some of the maps are nice. I guess it's kind of nice. But it's also sometimes kind of annoying because we got an ambush because of the closest waypoint being there instead of it being back where I'd already cleared out everything. I think you should be able to do what Guild Wars 2 does, where you can pick your waypoint. I don't know why you're walking over there. I don't want that. Why are you targeting that one? I'm pretty sure I clicked this one, but it didn't take. And then I tried to push tab, and then I ended up hitting, like, caps lock or something else. I didn't hit the right thing, so. Because I didn't see where my hand was going. That's the other thing, too. Okay, this is off topic. A little off topic, but also that. Other than my brain not being always able to multitask, because I can't do it. Like, sometimes I can't multitask very well, even with a controller. But the other problem is that my hands are quite small compared to most keyboards. No, will you leave me be? I'm working. I'm working.
Give me a high five.
No.
Come on.
Hold up. Let me finish what I was saying before you make me forget what I was complaining about.
You can't do multitasking.
I just told you. Anyways. My husband is putting his phone in my face while I'm trying to explain. But, like, my multitasking part is due to the fact that my brain can't do too many things at once. But another thing is, it's because my hand is much smaller than my keyboard. So I actually have a hard time reaching... Okay, good example. I hate shift running in most games because I can't... I had a feeling that there was a little bit more. But I was trying to nudge closer just to see where they would be at. I can't... reach it because I can't see it. Like my pinky like goes behind my hand, and I don't like that I can't see my hand. And that's a bit of an issue. And like, I know it's stupid because you shouldn't have to look. I had to take an actual typing class in school. It was a requirement for middle school. You had to take a typing class. Um, and I passed, but I barely passed. I passed with like a C or a B. I think it was a C. I didn't care enough to really too hard on it. But my biggest issue was if I can't see where my hands are on the keyboard, I lose track of where they're at. Because I can't, the keyboard's smooth and stuff. I kind of am very tempted to try and get one of those keyboards that has like the. I kind of wonder because they have some keyboards that have like for like the blind where they have like the little bumps on them. I'm very tempted to get one of those and see if that would be more comfortable because I feel like I would eventually recognize the bumps. If it doesn't have a bump on it, I know it wouldn't Braille. That's the word I'm looking for. I've seen keyboards with Braille on them, and I'm tempted to do that because I feel like if I could feel the Braille stuff, I wouldn't have an issue trying to find where my hands were. But I don't know. I also don't know if I want to try and train myself to that. Anyways, let's talk to whoever the heck is in charge here. I like how there's like 30 guys here, and I don't know which one I'm supposed to be talking to. There you are. Have you heard about the siege turtles? Yeah, okay. In Cantha, I'd love to get my hands on one of those. Yeah. What should you do with the dragons? It was always overreacts. A few more hours to sober up, and we'd have made short work of the coursers. Look, let's get back to the den and celebrate our victory. Okay. So yeah. So you guys got drunk and came out here and picked a fight, and then you're now wondering why the boss is mad at you for picking fights. Alright, I have made it back. I have made a mistake. I have fixed my mistake for using this key, getting a staff, talking to this guy. Yes. So we need to bring the survivor and counter bank back. So we have to escort them back instead of just teleporting back like the moron I am. Fine. I wonder if things will spawn behind us or if we're going to just walk them. Here's the thing. This is going to sound horrible, but I kind of almost prefer the idea of them... Hold up. We should go back the way we came. I kind of almost prefer them to be, it to be clear the way we walked back here. Because if I find out that we went through all this trouble and we don't get ambushed at least once during it, I'm going to feel cheated. Because I cleared the way for you guys. Now I have to give you princess treatment on the way back, Because you guys want to come out here and fight pirates drunk. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm hoping for the easy walk up, but I'm also sitting here thinking, if I have an easy walk up, why didn't you guys just walk yourselves back? You ain't that drunk. Now, at least. Are you coming? That's what I thought. Also, I had that instant key, and that chest was behind him. I was like, I'll just use it. It's not a big deal. I'm assuming I don't see anything spawning in to mug us, so I'm assuming it's just a basic walk back. Maybe a surprise group on the way, just because we dodged some of the groups. By chance. Like, I think there's a corset group up here. Nope, this is a bug group. Never mind. I was like, maybe this is a corset group because they're kind of moving and there's a lot of them. But I think it's just bugs. I'm waiting for the catch up. I don't know if we need to... You guys are so slow. Aren't you like the commanding officers? Maybe not. Move faster. Do you guys... Are these like... Are they... You're like... do we like old people in here? Like, what's going on? Why are you out here running around so slowly? I doubt they are enlisting old people on drunken missions for whatever this is. Truth be told, they're probably just too behind, just slower because there's so many NPCs here. I'm still gonna give them crap about it, okay? I'm gonna be a little bitter about it. Okay. I think we can get rid of them. We avoided them last time. I'm just gonna fight them. I'm just gonna get rid of them. Because there's only 3 of them and they're cutthroats, so it's not like they're just swordsmen. It's not a big deal. Alright, let's get going. We'll lead it back the way we got. I think this theoretically should be enough. I do feel like this one had a lot more enemies here. Maybe we just got lucky and avoided most of them. I didn't want to go as far as I did with that, but that's fine. Let's get out of here. Come on. I was watching him to see if he'll come back to us. My healer. I think that should hopefully be the last bit that we have to deal with unless we get ambushed. I say that because I feel like there's only a few areas in the woods where there is groups that are like open spaces. Like these guys are patrolling, but I think these guys are gonna go into the mosh. We'll see. They may end up going into the mosh or out, and if they do, then it's whatever. I'm gonna wait for them to leave. It's just thugs. It's not that bad. I don't know if they're gonna go down the corridor down there, or if they're gonna turn back around. Like, if they turn back around, we'll just kill them. But I'd rather not have to deal with that if we don't have to. Yeah, I feel like some of them did spawn at the end. Let's run over here and hope that the NPCs don't get caught at the end. Okay, cool. Could have killed them. Would have been faster? Probably. But, I don't feel like doing it. So yeah, some of them are spawning in a different direction, it looks like. So it does look like they clogged up the path with enemies. But that's okay. Oh, come on, you're in my way. I can't see what I'm doing. I can click space to attack things, but it's not the same thing as wanting to actually attack a specific thing. Okay. Is that thing a monster or is it a person? It's a monster. It's so weird. Sorry, I saw it and I was like, I kind of want to challenge it. Mostly because I just want to challenge it. I don't have a reason for wanting to do it. It was green. It was gross looking. I want to squish it. Plus we have like the numbers right now. Let me drop this real quick. I want to see what this is. Requires 4 curses. What? What thing did I just pick up? What do you mean it requires curses? Oh no. I'm gonna put that in my purse and it's mine now. Yeah, like I said, I feel like there's more of them here than there have been before. Which makes sense though. If you start up a nest, it would make sense that the nest would then, a nest of pirates, and that would proceed to spread out and become a problem. That makes a lot more sense. Dangerous, but sense. Okay. we could do that. Looks like a lot of this is just bugs. I think there's only like a few small groups that we really need to worry about. And if they die to bugs, then they're not really much of a crew, are they? Just saying. Might be a little cruel on my part, but just a little bit. I keep hitting 3 and I'm trying to hit 2. I'm almost wondering. My husband was showing me different keyboards. We were looking at these different keyboards unrelated to this. I'm almost tempted to see about looking into a different, unconventional keyboard. They have like those compact ones that shape to your hand, which I don't know if I like those. Those look really like annoying to clean. But I am thinking about trying to find a different type of keyboard to work with. Maybe something that I've seen those keyboards that split in half in the middle, and that's kind of cool. Especially since since I play video games most of the time, I'm normally only using half my keyboard for part of the game anyways. Normally it's the left side of my keyboard. So being able to kind of break off that and make it angle it more comfortably to my hand would be nice. I don't know though. I kind of wish I could go to an electronic shop that had them and kind of look at them. Like, you know, 'cause I hate to say experiment with them, but it's more like analyzing them. If you ever went to like a computer shop and stuff, and they have like the display ones that aren't hooked up to anything, but you can kind of feel how they feel and what they're like. That's kind of what I mean. Okay. So he's in there. So yeah, I gotta go in there now. Okay, cool. So yeah, I just had to escort the big babies to the door, even though they could have handled all that without me. Well, whatever. There you are. Hey, I got your friends. You might want to not let them drink. Make them go sober. Good to see that the young and talented warriors returned to the clan. I'm sure they thought they had the course right where they wanted them, but I greatly appreciate your assistance in this matter. Okay, cool. Nice. So that actually catches us back up to the main part of the game. And meaning that we've now got... I don't count these ones, like the Kangas one, and I don't count the Kryta. Those ones are missions for later. But we do basically have... We're all caught up back to Cormyr. There might be other missions here that I don't have. But for right now, I know that we've got most of them.
And we can just dance tonight.